Welcome everyone. It is Saturday here in Florida, and I wanted to make a quick video to coincide with the longer video that I made on the project that you're going to be doing in week number 5. That's project 2. That's the Cheta Banking video itself. So let's take a quick look at the actual functional requirements. So you want to get an initial investment, and remember the initial investment can be 0, but it cannot be less than 0. I recommend using the defaults, and I'll show you what they are in the beginning, rather at the end. Monthly deposit, again, you don't need a monthly deposit, but it can be negative. The annual interest rate really needs to be at least 1%. And I recommend using 5 so that you can get the sample data to make sure that what you calculate is completely accurate. And the number of years, again, that's got to be at least 1, but I recommend doing 5. Again, however way you want to do it. But by doing this sample data, then when you go and create your balances and print it out, you're going to know if it's right or wrong right off the bat. So again, the input screen for here, and you should really display what the user input afterwards. So again, the sample data is $1. $50 for the monthly deposit. The annual interest rate is 5, and the number of years. Now, you're going to be converting the interest rate. You're going to be dividing it by 100 and then again by 12. You see it in the formula, and I'm going to show it to you in the code that I actually created. So just type in 5 for interest rate. Don't type in 0.05. And then again, use whatever method you want. Press any key to continue. And this is the sample data with no deposit at all. So you can see it's not a real lot. And this is a sample sample data with a $50 deposit in here. So however way you print it out is pretty much easy. You can either do it this way with the 1 year. I did it the following way. I did it this way, and I just printed out all the months up to 60, only I just didn't do it 60 over here. You'll see when I actually show you exactly what I did. But what I want to show you here is I have a beginning balance. Of course, you're going to add $50. I didn't put this in. I added the interest and then the closing balance. So if you calculate and you use the $1 initial, $50 monthly deposit, $5 for interest rate, and you do not get this, then there is something not correct in your coding. So I would recommend that you go back and fix it and find out what it is. I'll try to give you some hints on it. So the rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory in here. So I want to go and look at the starter code, which is going to be provided for you. I want to show you my banking main in here. Now I've done it through banking, banking.h, and banking main. I just think it makes it a lot easier to determine what's the main and what's the class files. So it's a very simple main. Again, I'm not a big fan of using namespace standard. You've heard me mention that several times. However you use it is fine with me. One thing I do want to mention, I don't need to put this in here if I'm including banking.h. I can put all of my usings in here if I wanted to. So it's, again, your choice at what you feel like doing. Everybody has their own style. So I've got some functions that are included for you. Now, they don't do any error checking in terms of you type in a string instead of an integer, but they're just simple for you to use. And the full get integer I have available for you does all that. So again, this is my main in here. This is a starter file for you. I'm declaring all of the variables that I'm going to be using. These are all the class variables. Notice the lowercase. And then the first thing I'm doing is getting the initial investment by using the get double function provided for you. Then I'm setting the initial investment in here, which is in the class file, getting the double, which is in this file for the monthly deposit. Notice that it must be 0. However, I recommend using initial investment of 1 and 50. Then the interest rate, 1 means that is the least that it will take. Recommend doing the interest rate of 5. And again, how many years should be 5. Notice these are double, double, double. This is an integer because you're not going to do it for 5.5 years. So each time you're doing set the deposit, set the interest, set the number of years, and then the display balances. So I wanted to show you a little trick in banking.h first. Notice that I have pregnant ones, and then I have the if and define in here, which is pretty much standard. However, you really do not need that anymore if you're using pregnant ones. This is mostly if you have several different class files that you're using and several different header files in here. You might need to use a separate if and define for each one. You really don't have to. The pregnant ones will take care of it all for you. However, I'm leaving it in here because I know the book describes it that way. You can do whatever you want. It should be fine. And then again, my naming is, I believe in Pascal case for anything that's user defined. So notice that all of my private variables are Pascal case. And I've changed from the video previously published to Pascal case for the private methods in here. Again, this is the default. So notice I've changed the default constructor. If you've watched the previous video where it actually left these blank and then just called on set the blank default constructor. Here you can do it this way. Same thing. This is actually now the preferred way of doing it. Both do the same thing. Set initial investment I've written for you. So let's look at that real quick. And you're getting a set initial investment and you're passing the initial investment. Now notice that I'm using the same name here, initial investment, as the actual private. However, because this is a little I and the private is a capital I can do that. But my preference is always to use this. If you're not really familiar with this, that is a pointer that is automatically passed, and it's a pointer to the actual class itself. So this means if I use the same thing, initial investment, lowercase and lowercase, it would mean to use the class version of initial investment, and then this would be the parameters version. But by making the private ones capitalized and the lowercase ones for anything past, it makes it a little bit simpler in my opinion in here. So center text is something that's written for you. It's in the starter file. You can use it if you want, as well as printing a character. It's a simple way of using a character without having to actually print the character inside of a loop. So again, look at my banking main. It's nothing fantastic. So we're going to go to declaring an instance of the class, setting the number of years. Notice that it is initialized and it is commented. All these are initialized and commented. And then I'm just getting the investments in here. You know, again, you could write a function if you wanted to, passing the class to just do all these in here. Either way is fine. Here's our get integer functions here. So there's nothing really exciting in this thing here. It's just a matter of getting all the information and then displaying the balances. So I'm going to run the program for you in my version. So let's go and see if we can run it. And before we do, I will show you how I did the calc balance in here and the update balance in here, so you can look at it real quick. Again, the interest, notice the capital I, the beginning balance plus the monthly balance, the interest rate divided by 100 divided by 12, and the interest is double, so no integer division. But I noted that 112 actually get promoted to double when you do this. That's just the way C++ works. So you could do this as well. Either way is fine, doesn't really matter. And then note if no monthly deposit is there, the formula is really the same, except that the monthly deposit is 0. And then I do the closing balance, and then I just update it. So let's run this and let's see what happens. I'm going to go in here and I will do an investment of 1. and a monthly deposit of $50, and then an interest rate of 5, and I will do 5 years. This is the way I did it. Again, the most important thing is everything is accurate that's printed out. So if you look at the monthly one versus the yearly one, you'll see the years are the same. This is the most important one that you want to do if you're using 5 years, is to make sure this figure is accurate and this figure is accurate. So if they're not, then there's a problem in your formula. So just go back and review exactly what's there. That is everything that I have. I hope this video is helpful for you. Remember, anything shared in this video you may use because you're going to get the starter file. Anything shared in the video that I actually did is my code, and please do not use that in here. You want to write all of your own code as much as you can. Hopefully this helps you. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm looking forward to seeing some great projects. Have a wonderful day.